Lesson 6, SIAM Roadmap Part 2, Plan and Build. Welcome to Lesson 6. In this lesson, we'll look at the second SIAM Roadmap stage, Plan and Build. We'll study objectives, trigger, inputs, activities, outputs. We've mentioned in the previous lesson that the roadmap stages and activities are not always sequential. Some of them may happen in parallel, some may need to be repeated or revisited based on feedback from later stages. The customer organization might choose to adopt an agile project management approach to help it manage the SIAM roadmap. Agile project management is defined as a method of project management that is characterized by the division of tasks into short phases of work and frequent reassessment and adaptation of plans. Agile is most commonly used in software development, but Agile project management can be useful during a SIAM transformation. The project needs to adapt to changes, while still meeting cost, quality, and time requirements. Plan and Build is the roadmap stage where detail is added to the outputs from discovery and strategy to complete the design of the SIAM model. Plans and approvals are put in place before the next roadmap stage, Implement. You can see the objectives for Plan and Build here. Adopting SIAM is a change that will affect the entire customer organization, so organizational change management will be required. The service integrator and service providers are appointed during this stage, but remember that some customer organizations may be integrating existing service providers into their new SIAM model. The trigger for the Plan and Build stage is the completion for the Discovery and Strategy stage. The customer organization's senior management must have confirmed their intention to proceed with a SIAM transformation. You can see the stage inputs here. They are the outputs from Discovery and Strategy ready to have more information added to them. The activities in the Plan and Build stage are shown on screen. Once the full business case has been approved, funds and resources will be available to support organizational change management activities. The customer organization will also begin the procurement process to select service providers and to select its service integrator if it plans to use an external service integrator. This will often involve common commercial practices like issuing a request for information and a request for proposal. A request for information, or RFI, is used to gather information about the capabilities of a number of service providers so that they can be compared and a shortlist can be created. A request for proposal, or RFP, is used to invite service providers to bid for a project, service, or piece of work. Let's use the case study to consider some of these activities in a bit more detail with an exercise. Plan to spend 20 minutes on this exercise and don't forget to review our suggested solution. One of the activities in the Plan and Build stage is to appoint the service integrator. Which of the 4 SIAM structures would you recommend for Ceylon Ordinax? Why do you think it is preferable when compared to the others? If you need to make a few assumptions to support your answer, that's okay. The order in which the service integrator and service providers are appointed can have an impact on the overall success of the SIAM model. In an ideal situation, the customer organization would appoint the service integrator first. The service integrator could then be involved in the service provider selection process, and external service integrators could use their commercial experience to help the customer organization negotiate with the service providers. If the customer organization is transitioning existing service providers into their SIAM model, they need to make sure that the contracts in place are appropriate. Service providers need to collaborate as part of a SIAM model, and not all of them are willing to do so. Adopting SIAM allows the customer organization to select services from a number of service providers. This gives the customer an opportunity to choose best-of-breed services that will fully meet its requirements. However, the more service providers there are in the SIAM model, the more complex it becomes, so there is a level of risk. The customer organization needs to balance 3 factors: getting the best services, the number of service providers, and the complexity of the service model. More service providers mean more interaction and more complexity to manage. Adopting SIAM lets the customer organization source services in groups. Examples of service groups include hosting, application development and support, desktop support, end-user computing, networks, managed services. These can be provided by internal or external service providers. The design of the service groups should minimize technical dependencies between services, which creates complexity. For example, if Ceylon Ordinax wanted to source development and support of Hall web sales externally, it could do this from a single service provider. It wouldn't be mandatory to source hosting from one provider, storage from another, and so on. Here's another exercise to support your understanding of the plan and build activities. Plan to spend 10 minutes on this exercise, and don't forget to review our suggested solution. Process models are part of the detailed SIAM model. Ceylon Ordinax needs a process model for problem management, which is currently very immature. A process model describes a process. What would you expect to include in a process model from problem management? Try and make a note of at least 5 elements. For example, you might include any interactions between the process and other processes. The SIAM Process Guides document will help you if you're not familiar with problem management. You'll find a copy in your download area. Once all the activities are completed, the plan and build outputs you can see here will be in place. As with the previous stage, any missing or incomplete outputs need to be highlighted, and the risk associated with them assessed. The outputs from plan and build need to be detailed enough to support the next roadmap stage, implement. Plan and build activities might need several iterations before this is the case. Click on the Next button to access your end-of-lesson quiz when you're ready. When you finish the quiz, click the Next button again to move on. That completes Lesson 6, where we've studied the plan and build roadmap stage, including objectives, trigger, inputs, activities, outputs. In Lesson 7, we'll study the next roadmap stage, implement.